Heather with us and Brenda with us this morning. So with that, I'd like to call a motion for the meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Glenn, second by Dave. All in favor?
Okay.
And I resolve the agenda for the meeting be adopted. With critical notes. and
So,
additions.
Mr. Chair, I'll read off the motion.
Okay.
That's clear.
Sir,
Resolve that the agenda for the meeting be adopted as circulated with the noted additions, and there are no additions.
There's one addition,
oh, one addition,
but it's in camera.
It's in camera, yes.
I have two small,
two?
two small additions to new business,
To new business,
Yeah.
outside of camera?
outside camp, yeah.
Sure.
Do you want the name of them, or you want the title, or just, one is Colville Sidewalk, and the other one is the road plan.
Road plan?
Road plan. Thanks.
Road plan?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, the agenda as presented with the two noted additions offered by Councillor Elijah.
All right.
So if we get a mover.
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Spicer, seconded by Councillor.
Sutherland, all in favor? So moved.
The next item on the agenda, Mr. Chair, is the confirmation of the minutes, and they are resolved the minutes of December 13, 2022 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover? Rob, second Sandra. All in favor? So moved.
And we're still waiting for our delegation to show up. I don't think the delegation's here, that was scheduled for 9:45. So if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Chair, what we can do is move on to communication for action and deal with some of those items while we're waiting for that. So the first item is the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and that's the identification for the members who would be going. We had said that we'd bring this back. The conference is in Toronto on May 25th to 28th, and I think, Heather, have we identified all the people that were attending this conference?
Not at all.
So the intent here is we do, I think what happened at the last meeting that we discussed this is that there wasn't much of an agenda available. We have a little bit more of an agenda available, but not much more. But it's a question of how many people would be attending, if all councilors or certain members.
And, sorry, when would when's the last day you have to know by Heather? Or we have to know today, or?
Well, we will need to know, let me just open it up.
We need to know in order to book the rooms and the plane tickets in time. The rooms fill up for FCM very, very quickly. There's a deadline, they can only be available within the week. We can't book in advance, but as soon as that week opens up, we need to be the first ones in there as quickly as possible to get the appropriate rooms.
Scott, you had a question or something?
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask about the early bird date,
Oh,
and then the second part of that was, like, if we ordered the rooms, can we not cancel them?
Most of the time, not for this, they will charge us at least one full night if we cancel them.
that's not too bad.
And if we book rooms prior to the event, can you pull that up from the last meeting? I think I put information on the last meeting about that. If we pre-book, they will automatically cancel. Every hotel is told to cancel. Anybody who's pre-booked FCM.
Just there's the people that have gone and hoarded the rooms, and then all of a sudden then they
Just
come
like
over
what
for the
we want to
hotels,
do.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, just quick around the table here, would you be going, No? Sandra?
I did put down to go, but I
Yes.
did put a question, yes.
Dave? No? Deepak?
Yes.
Yes, that's 1, 2, maybe 3,
I'm a maybe too, because
yeah. She-
I don't wanna sit
I think
there.
Deb is going, yeah, she said, yeah, so that would be 4 for sures and 2 maybes.
This still should be
It
on
says
there.
on their website there's no specific date,
I
but
don't think this is
the
no-
hotel opens mid-February.
Okay, so,
So like for sure at our next meeting, for sure. we
yeah,
will.
okay, so everybody can make their mind up by next meeting if they're gonna go or not, if that's okay?
There usually is an early bird though, cutoff though,
Yeah.
right?
And it doesn't have any of that available yet.
We have a general idea of who's pending, so we can start working on that. If necessary, I can send out an email if we run out of time before the next meeting.
Yeah, my concern is more about travel. Like, I'm not gonna have a very good convention if I'm sitting in the airport waiting for my bags for 3 days.
Well,
How
hopefully,
bad COVID's gonna be again.
well, hopefully by then it flushes out this.
Winnipeg to Toronto has been working pretty good.
Yeah.
My son just flew out there and there was no issues. Generally speaking, I would recommend if you're going to the MCM conference, go with a carry-on bag. In Toronto, I've had the experience of losing luggage there already. Okay, so if we're fine with that, we'll move on to the Recreation Manitoba Conference. And so that's the 2023 Recreation Manitoba Conference. We also have identified that's deadline for not, we're looking at recognition of someone that we would like to identify. If there is somebody that could be identified for, to be nominated for an award.
We've already done this for last year, right?
He was last year.
Yes.
Brenda, you have any ideas? Anybody for this? You're kinda in that circle, eh?
The only one I was thinking, yeah, I'm on the board for Rec Manitoba now, so I've been kind of front with all this, but, the only one I was
So you
thinking
can't
is,
vote on this thing, you're saying, conflict?
I was just thinking, like, they have a facility award typically, so maybe not this year because none of our facilities are at the award point yet, but next year when we see like a full operating year of success, like, let's, ESRA for example, we see a full operating year of the success that they've achieved, maybe GMRA down the road when they're finished. So that would be, I think, something just to keep in the back of our minds, but for this year, I don't think we have a nomination.
So you're saying maybe Grand Marais Rec Center?
Down the road, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any ideas? Any? No?
So we don't have to submit any names this year, so the only other thing is the conference itself, which is on March 23rd, March 13th to 15th. Let's see who's planning on attending.
I usually attend, I'm on the rec committee, so.
Any other interested?
I can't give a yes or no.
Okay. Can we bring it back to the next meeting, or the early bird deadline is January 27th?
It's a Monday to Wednesday this year instead of a Wednesday to Friday, if that makes a difference.
So it's like a year in advance?
No, it's a couple months away.
It's 2023.
Well, get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've made some of those mistakes in 2022 already. Okay, so we'll bring this one back as well. And so the Municipal World webinar, this is the master's class with Gordon McIntosh, and it's offered again. And we were wondering if council was interested in doing this webinar, and then we can register one person and then run it in the chamber as we have done in the past.
Any interest? No? Is it expensive?
Sounds like a golf tournament.
It's pretty pricey, isn't it?
If It is crazy.
Yeah.
I know he's a very good speaker, but, and that's a great idea to have it just in the chamber here for everybody to come on to. But
Or would anybody come? Any interest?
No, I've taken this one already, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, it goes through some of the stuff that's a little more gray in government.
It's $270 for registration, so we can do one registration if you like it.
yeah. Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just, okay.
Okay, let's do one.
Yes,
Is that a Tuesday?
Tuesday, February the 7th.
We will be hosting a committee.
If we need to, we'll work around that.
Because Debbie did express interest in attending this.
Yes. Okay, so we'll register Debbie's name and then we'll run it out of the seminar here. Okay, so resolve Mayor Feeblecorn be authorized to attend the Municipal World webinar on Tuesday, February 7th, 2023.
Mover, Scott, and seconded. Glenn? All in favor? So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and our delegation has just arrived. And this is my first time seeing Dan in person. I must have had about at least a few hundred conversations with him since
At least,
I've been here.
at least.
And so Dan, we have a short window, but
Okay.
we've got 15 minutes for you to come and do the presentation. And so our delegation, Dan Lester's here to talk about trails and trails funding and some of our trail projects.
Yeah. Part of it is, I just want to give the council an update after his post-election, and, but, we're all the same faces, so that's good. I don't have to reacquaint you. I'll give you a bit of background on what I've been doing. I've been involved with Beaches of 59, which is, we gotta get some pickup on some funding from the Building Sustainable Communities program, which is a sign, which is put up a shingle for Art and St. Clements, Community Futures, 2 of them, but Beaches of 59, because we don't have a brick and mortar home, so we have a internet presence, but we need to get a sign, so that, I'm gonna say, people have a window and see the sign on the road. We'll get it. Red River North Trail does things to, I'm gonna say, enhance ratepayers' lives, not just St. Clements, but 9 other municipalities. So that's what we do. And that's, if you would ask me in 2004 if I was sitting here, the answer would be no. 2016, we got some headway. We got Manitoba Hydro done, which is next door to East Selkirk. It was a thermal generating station, now it's gonna be up for grabs, hopefully maybe RM gets it. I don't know. That's up to you guys to do. But we have a trail there, so we have to be mindful, and we have an actual lease. We're actually pursuing a same lease to get, and Coca-Cola falls in there with Alexandria, a sister municipality, which is St. Clements and Alexandria is the 2 largest ones, and Beaches of 59 just happens to be on the cusp between the 2 as a service. Rob Boulanger is, with his group, is doing the, I'm going to call it the Red River East Selkirk Bridge connection. One of the things that I wanted to portray to council is that as you provide all these amenities, you're going to have a tug of war for people requesting more and more. Okay, what can you do for me now so I can use these trails 4 seasons instead of 3 seasons? I'll give you a perfect example, East St. Paul. The railway bed from Hodnot to the city of Winnipeg. It was never plowed, never plowed. And how I know this, because my mother lives 4 houses away, and that's how I got involved with this Red River North Trail. Now it's used every day, it's plowed, they had to buy a machine, a Bobcat, to steer it off with a plow, and then blow it for big trips. And they got flashing lights, which is what we want to do for East Selkirk, just over here, and for Grand Marais. So we'll get there. Just the price point, I know that I can't come to the different funders and say, hey, there's a 5% increase, so I need a 5% increase. It doesn't work like that. When you get a funding amount, it's set amount, and you've got to work within that. So, and I know we get it. So we'll get there. It's just a matter of one foot in front of the other. Now, some other background, I know Sandra's involved with Interlake Tourism, and so I'm also on a board member on there for Red River North Trail, and also get simultaneously get the beaches of 59 information. So the update that I wanted to give you is that January 16th, Building Sustainable Communities has an intake. The only areas of interest that come to mind, because we have several funding arrangements with TCTB, Building Sustainable Communities, ICIP, which is a tough nut, the federal government, and then also with Selkirk and District Foundation. So, for example, Lockport, it's been put on hold while they figure out what they're going to do with the Henderson Highway interchange, and whether they're going to connect to the floodway, whether it's on the north side of 44 or the south side. Safety-wise, just because I have a safety hat from Safety Services Manitoba, it'd be better for active transportation to be on the north side, close to the church of the bridge, but they may want to connect onto the south side. I just want to see a connection. And so provide safety, because they don't want to go all the way north down Henderson Highway, because they have plans for some sort of infrastructure there. So that's what it is. But Grand Marais, there's 2 projects, or 3 projects there, kind of, actually 4. The 3 that come to mind are, we completed 2 of them, which is Grand Marais at the Grand Marais, I'm going to call it, we just finished it, from the rec center to Causeway, that's in the park. So the gates are going up to keep the fire commissioner happy, which is Mark Sinclair, but he happens to have another hat, Grand Beach Provincial Park. So it's win-win. So the 2 gates are going, 4 gates, 2 locations. So they're going there to protect the park and at the same time protect the municipality. So that's when I put on my Beaches of 59 hat, we have an outstanding project with a sign for the RM. There's one project that we like to pursue, which is along the Grand Marais Boulevard, I think. It's right by the Lake Winnipeg. RM St. Clements has some land. I'm willing to donate some gravel fill. It's a matter of, you have to dot your I's and cross your T's before you can just willy-nilly go ahead and do it. Because it's your private land, you guys can do whatever you like there within reason. Within a certain distance of the lake, you have to be mindful of permissions, so we may have to get a permission for that. So I'll have to work with DPAC to figure out a permission. The other thing is special events in the community, whether it's a fishing derby, fireworks, Santa Claus parade, Halloween. You might want to empower your CAO instead of the council being bothered all the time to deal with these special events. Because a lot of times volunteers aren't great planners. And they'll come to you at the last minute and it's like, okay, how do we meander this? And if you don't hit a council meeting or timely event, it's like 2 weeks or 4 weeks and you miss it. So I'm just keeping you aware of that. And then because of highways, in the beginning, when they got rid of the Highway Traffic Board, they dumped on the municipalities, oh, you guys can be in charge of the speed limits, but just send us a memo kind of thing. But by being the traffic authority, they're sort of dumping more and more on the RM, which is, how do you identify what's transported from 2019 to 2023? Because incrementally, they're giving you guys more and more. Like for example, in Grand Marais, Grand Beach Service Road along Highway 12. It's called Hamlet Service Road or whatever it is. But in 2017, when we got approval, we didn't get approval. We got approval for along Highway 12, and then for the private landowners, we had to do a reroute to accommodate the RM, because we can't just go on to private land people and just say, oh, by the way, they have a trail on their land. It doesn't work like that.
Speaking of which, if you could speak a little bit about the private land
Oh.
issue right out there that the council should be aware of and needs to
Yes.
address.
So there's one private land issue. Previous CAO, DJ Sigmundson, got involved, and he appeased Trails Manitoba that the RM would supply a connectivity trail in lieu of private land going sideways. Where we have a connection point is from Kent, the new subdivision, which I'm going to call Kent Road, and then South Harbor, we connect onto a little piece of municipal right away, but then the old railway bed is half owned by the Micklash family. I just met with them, and the Jets came in by a fluke, but Mr. Micklash has since passed. But his goal was to try and unite it for the family. The family still wants to do it, but they said if push comes to shove, they'll take away their 3/4 of a mile of railway bed access, and then the RM and Red River North Trail and the community is SOL.
So just to be specific, what Dad's talking about is that because there was just a handshake deal to be able to get access onto this, what now that Mr. Micklash has passed away, we need to get something in
Basically, in writing.
writing.
We have a
It's
lease.
going to be a cost because the property owners or the children are expecting some level of compensation for access to the land. is my
Yes,
understanding.
what's happening is from the service road, the connection point to the snowmobile trail, which accesses the lake, in the summertime, you're getting some campers, people that are, I'm gonna say, showing up on this land. And by the time you get, whether it's a bylaw officer, and the bylaw officer can't enforce anything on highways right of way. So on highways right of way, you have to call the RCMP. By the time you get anybody there, it's gone. And it frustrates the cottage owners and the ratepayers of RM6, which happens to be a windfall ratepayer because they'd like to swap their land, give it to the RM, in lieu, have the RM get involved with highways and say, hey, you don't need this portion of land, can you give it to this land and we'll do a land swap. And there's a way to do it, but public tender is not the way to do it, because there's too many hiccups, so. And then, I don't know, for Rob's trail over, I'm gonna call it your trail, but it's Red River North Trail, but it's Trails Manitoba. I'm just gonna say, a winter project might be cross-country skiing or snowshoeing, because now it's level ground, kind of you can meander it. Because they're doing that in Baconia, in the Arm of St. Clements, from Road 99 north to Balsam Harbor. There's a local guy, Brian Johnson, he's been doing it for the last 4 years. He puts in trails and they skate skier and they ski it, all kinds of stuff, and I'm just like, I didn't even know that.
Rob?
So on that note, that is the grand plan for this area, is to get, I briefly talked to Brennan about it 2 years ago or more. Once you get infrastructure like this in place in your RM, the key is to get it to a community group. So I'm trying to rally some people in the community here. They are using the trail. I know a lot of them that are going there and using it. They like what we did there. But now we have to get them enthusiastic about looking after it and have them take it over in terms of grooming, taking turns, who's going to go out. It's almost like a community club where once you build it, your community will embrace it. And that's what I'm trying to do in this next 4 years, is to get the community to embrace that. And as Dan said, if you get people embracing it, they'll take ownership of it, and they'll
Yes.
want to go use it, and they'll want to go ski it. So
I
that's the plan.
remember talking about this when
Yeah.
we first started those trails. I remember that theory that you had.
Yeah, so trying to still get there, so I just wanted to touch on my
Yeah,
toes.
and one of the things that you'll witness or whatever says 2020, the only thing open during COVID was trails. And people need an outlet. So, but I don't want you guys to, I'm just warning you guys, you might have to buy yourself for public works, some sort of snow blower or a Bobcat, or maybe you have one already, I don't know. But it's to, like, public works doesn't do anything unless you're told to do something. And whether the ratepayers in the community want something, that's another thing.
Do you have a written agreement with Snowden for his railway?
With-
Snowden?
Yes, we do.
Memory? Yeah.
We have with Miglash, Snowden, and actually in Baconia, Noam Gonick, another fellow, we have we have 10 agreements. We have
That's for the railway?
Yeah, for the railroad, for right to use. Only on, the whole thing that I've learned over the process is you need legal footprint in order to get a route plan. In order to have a route plan, then once you've established that, you get liability insurance. And you need those three things in order to proceed.
But in one of those other cases, do they have to give you notice that they want?
Yes, they have to give us 6 months' notice,
Okay.
usually. Or they can go as small as 1 month. So just to be aware, they could, at any time, they can pull that trigger.
Yeah.
But not just Snowden or Miclash, anybody. Like, we deal with Chabot, which is in St. Clements in some areas, like in the Selkirk Quarry area, but then also he's in Alexander at Gull Lake. So and then while I'm here, the only trail that comes to mind, because I brought up Gull Lake, is going from Arnold Road, connecting along the highway, the hamlet, the old Stead access road, and then we cross and go south. There's a sign missing, somebody brought it up to me. And just so you know, in 2017, Trans-Canada Trail switched it, called it the Great Trail. In 2021, they switched it back, and they want to call it the Trans-Canada Trail. So, that's it, that's all. We're very close to being fully connected. You can always build better trails, like alongside the highway and roads or whatever. There's only so much money that an RM can bear. Like, I don't come and ask for $1 million because you guys will just say no.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay, give me $1 million. No. But I'd rather see infrastructure, because you're gonna have students that are coming from, I'm gonna say north of East Selkirk, along the rail bed, even though that's, I'm gonna call it from Coville Road north, you have ATVs. In wintertime, track packing, the old version of snowmobile trails, it's up there. So it's just a matter of, is there political will / ratepayer will, or need or ask or student will to use it as a walking trail? Because it's morphed into that in East St. Paul.
Yeah.
And it's not far away. So it's just, I just wanted to give you the update so
Is
that
there
all of
anybody
council
else
is
who
aware.
has anything they want to ask Dan while he's here? No?
And I can send emails to update anything at any time, so. And just so you know, I had a nice glossy report to give you guys. I have no internet at home right now. So, and I'm not typing all this into the phone because you're gonna get fat finger on this.
One of the things that I asked Dad to come and make this presentation was an update on some of the projects that are presently happening, and also for the move to look at providing more updates on a regular basis to council on some of these projects that we're having, so that we are all aware, especially when you're getting questions from your residents.
Yeah, that's like, we're fully able to, I'm just a catalyst.
Yeah, and then not to say Dad hasn't been providing, he's been providing me updates regularly, that's why I've had hundreds of.
Yeah.
And Mel Chambers says hi from the city of Winnipeg. Deepak knows. He's going to San Antonio. Oh, is there any other questions for me? And feel free to call me at any time.
Thank you for coming in, Dad.
Okay, just so you know, I'm on Western Beach, so.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay. See you later. And we're looking forward to resuming Red River North Trail meetings in person.
Yes.
Just thought I'd let you know that too.
Okay, thank
See
you.
you later.
Thank you so much.
Take care, see you guys.
So, I think the other delegation is here, so now we go into in-camera and then we
With
can
Gary?
get them.
You want in camera?
Gary and Keith Merkel.
Well, first I have to read the resolution for camera. So, resolved, council recess the regular meeting and go in camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed will remain confidential as per section 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act.
Moved by Rob, second by Sandra, all in favor? So moved.